Hi everyone, I'd like to welcome you back to one of my tutorials. My name is Sarah Steinbrink. I'm going to do a 3D crocodile or alligator print. It's something different. It's with our new lace gel that we just came out with. It was released this year, June, in Orlando. Lace gel is a tack-free gel that you can use to make lace patterns, but today I'm going to do something a little bit different with it. It's like a paste, and a little goes a long way. I've used this container 2 or 3 times already, and it really doesn't look like I've really made that much of a dent in it. As you can see over here, I've taken a couple chunks out of it. So it's definitely worth your money to purchase something like this because it's going to last you a long time. As well as I'm going to be using one of our new chromium pigments. I'm going to use silver today, but we have it in a wide range of colors, including gold, hollow. There's some shiny pearl pigments. There's some multi-pearl pigments as well. Shifter pigments. And we also have a fine silver as well, but this one is the traditional silver, one of the first ones that we came out with to make this design. I'm also going to use the Royal Gel in R7, which is black, for the base color. So I'm going to start out using this nail tip here, and I've already prepared it, I've buffed it and everything. So I'm going to just apply some R7 to the surface. And I'm going to be using this narrow Merlot 1 brush. You can also use the 0 brush, or you can use an A3 brush, or even any of the other gel brushes. These ones are just specific for color gels. And I really like to use these because the hairs are put together a little bit more and the coverage is a little bit better. So you don't have to worry about so much streaking. And I'm just going to apply a very super thin coat of this. And even with this thin coat, you can see that this is still very richly pigmented. So we can use this as the slicking layer, and I can apply a little bit more to have a little bit more even coverage. Now this is a tack-free gel, so you do not have to apply a top gel if you don't want to. And what's great about that is that I can put my chromium pigment directly over the top of this, because it has just enough give in the surface for me to do that. Now you see I have like little bumps and stuff on here, and for this design that doesn't really matter because I'm going to be putting the lace gel on top. So this cures in a LED light for 1 to 2 minutes, or 2 to 3 minutes in a UV. So I'm going to cure this and we will be right back. So while this is curing, I want to note that you can see how dirty my brush is right here. I'm going to wipe it here for you, this way you can see how dirty it is. Now, normally you're going to stick this in cleanser and stuff, and sometimes I still do that if I really can't get all the pigment and stuff out. But to really get most of the pigment out, I'm going to be using this Extreme Top Shine here, which is one of our newer Top Shine gels. And I'm going to remove the rest of the color from this by placing a little bit on my nail form. And I'm going to start squishing my brush into it to release the color from the brush. You can see right here that a little bit has started already to come out. Now I'm going to do this, and you see how much more comes out of my brush. Now I can do this several more times to really get the color out of my brush. I mean, because it is black, so it will take a long time for you to get this out. As you can see that there is still quite a bit in here. So you can do this as many times as you want. You don't have to use Extreme Top Shine. You can use any Top Shine gel or any clear gel that we have from our range to clean out your brushes. This way you have a longer life for your brushes. And this way you're not really damaging the hair of your brushes with the cleanser as well, especially since these are natural hair And also with our synthetic line brushes, you can see that there still is quite a bit left. I'm going to leave it like that for now. But just so it gives you an idea of how much stuff can really be left in your brush, even though that you thought that you cleaned it. You can even put your brush in cleanser and think that you clean it and then do this process and color will still come out because it's still stuck in there. It could be stuck in the ferrule of your brush, could be stuck in between the hairs, and instead of you like really breaking the bristles of your brush by going like this inside of a cleansing dish, you don't have to do that. You can just squish it out and most of the color is going to come out. So now I pulled the nail tip out of the light, and I'm just going to set that right here. This way I can open up this chrome mirror pigment, and it will pretty much go everywhere. You can see just how shiny it really is. So I'm going to do this over the towel, this way I don't get my other towel super messy, but I'm going to take an eyeshadow applicator. Now you don't have to use an eyeshadow applicator. You can use a cosmetic wedge, or you can use a rubber glove as well to apply this. But what I like to do is I like to tap it in first, and then start just rubbing it down onto your nail. Then I can tap a little bit more and rub it down. You can see with our product and with this using Royal Gel as a base layer, you don't have to use that much pressure in order to get it to stick. So you're really not hurting your fingers all that much. I've used other ones and I've really had to scrub in there and I had a hand cramp by the end, but I have to say that our product, you really don't need that much pressure to put on it. I'm sorry, I'm moving the camera a bit. If you wanted, you could use the Extreme Top Shine over this and then put another coat if it's still not as chrome as you'd like. I'm going to close this now. And again, you can use whichever color that you wish. I'm just going to use just a generic dusting, soft dusting brush that I purchased, makeup brush, so I can get all of the extra out, but you can see how pigmented that is. So now, before I apply the lace gel, I'm going to apply the Extreme Top Shine over this. But before I do that, I know that sometimes that a lot of these chrome powders have separation. So in order to prevent the separation, I want you to use your acid-free primer. And you can either put this over the entire nail, or what I've been doing and have had a lot of success with is just applying it to the free edge of the natural nail. This way, there's no separation. And then I'll allow that to dry a bit. We all know that most of the chipping happens at the free edge of your client's natural nail. So make sure that you've got quite a bit on your brush. You can see. And then apply this to the entire nail surface. Make sure that you cap the free edge as well. Now I'm going to cure this for 1 to 2 minutes in an LED or 2 to 3 minutes in a UV. Okay, so now that that's cured, I'm going to bring this little white towel over here again. I'm going to apply the lace gel so you can see it again. Now you can do this with any color base and top, but try to make sure that they're similar. This way you get the proper effect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of this lace gel and I'm going to use my nail art needle and I'm going to dig it out of the container. I'm going to want to make like a pretty decent 3D effect. You can see here. So I'm going to place this in the center. And I'm just going to try to work it around where I want it to be first. And then I'm going to go back with my 3D brush, which I think I pulled A3. Yeah, my A3 3D brush for this. I want it to be thick enough. This way I can make indentations in it later. So with my A3 brush, oops, I'm going to use this and a little bit of cleanser and I'm going to pat it out. Wiping in between and make sure that you have just enough cleanser, because if you use too much you might ruin your design. If you use too little it might cause the lace gel to come up off the nail, so you don't want that. So your piece you want to be in the center and you want it to be the largest ones in the center. This way, it makes the design more interesting. Now, because this is gel, this will not move, so you can move on to the next piece if you like, and then make all your indentations after, but that's not necessary. You can flash cure in between, so if I wanted to, I can make my indentations, flash cure, or I can make my next piece above and below, make my indentations and flash cure that, or make the entire design. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to make the center portion and then do the indentations and then I will make the outer portions. So like I just did, I'm going to go back into my jar and I'm going to grab two smaller than what I had grabbed before. And I'm going to place one above and one below. Relatively the same size. Now it does not have to be perfect because I mean these are, this is a print, so it does not have to be perfect whatsoever. And if you take too much, see how I have a little bit too much, so I just like rolled it off, so it's not that big of a deal. And you can scrape it back into the jar. And I'm going to do the same as before, and I'm going to kind of move these generally where I want them. These are going to be smaller, and make sure that you leave this space here in between because we want the design to have dimension. You don't want it to look flat. Again, same process. I'm going to take my A3 brush, I'm going to flatten it out, and I'm going to kind of maneuver it where I want it to be. Does not have to be perfect. You see that I kind of touched it here, and I can just flatten that right back out. Does not matter, and even if that stays, that's fine too. So I'm going to take this brush, and I'm also going to flatten this out. And I got a little bit too much. You can turn it which way that you want. But just try to keep this same shape. use the belly of the brush to flatten it out. And then press and pull wherever it is that you want this to go. If you feel like your design is not high enough, that maybe you want it higher, like as high as I made the centerpiece, you can definitely add more and go back if you want. But it is not necessary. You can always make some a little bit higher, some a little bit lower. It really just depends on what your preference is and what your client's preference is. And we do have these in other colors. We have purple, pink, peach, white, and mint. Just depends on what color that you want to use. I believe this looks cooler in black. Okay, so I'm going to show you what I mean by indentations. So once you get everything how you want it, if it's not perfect enough, like just fix it up however it is that you want. And I'm going to use the nail art needle side of my dotting tool. And I'm going to press in and make like scars, I guess you could say, in the scales. Just wherever you decide. Random, every which way. You can also use the nail art needle, since it's metal, you can use this to clean it up and make the lines sharper on the side of the pattern that you had created with your brush if it's not sharp enough or it's not exactly how you want it. So I don't know if you can see, but try to bring this a little closer so you can see right here, in here, here, where I had made these patterns. And then I'm going to flash cure that. And I'm also going to put the other, ones down here, and then I'll show you how to create the ones on the side. Okay, now that I've flash cured that, this is what it looks like.